there, I am Lori Delk.
Hi, I am Rara is in the house. Catherine is Sarah Myers.
And we are the Gratitude Girls. And while we speak to you tonight, if you have any questions or comments, you're welcome to post them right below this video in the comment section.
Hello, Lori. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. I have brought some spring to our show tonight. As you can see, I have some lovely lavender tulips that were given to me as a birthday gift from my friend Byrony, and I thought I would bring them onto the show so we can show that here in Canada, spring does happen.
Nice. They are very pretty.
Yeah. Thank you. I thought I would bring a little bit of, since we have this new surrounding and we're in country, so to speak, I thought I would bring a little bit of the outside in. I was thinking that I'll do that for each show to demonstrate what it's like. So I'm speaking to our audience, in case our audience is not aware of this. I am talking to you from Ontario, Canada. I'm in the Niagara-on-the-Lake region now. We used to be in the downtown Toronto with the big city lights behind us, and we're now in our house, completely and totally unpacked, and we're thrilled to be speaking to you from this part of the world. And Lori, you're in Columbia, Tennessee, right?
That's right.
It's amazing how we can just, with the click of a button, be anywhere we want. Tonight, we have a wonderful show for our audience, and I'm so excited. Lori, I feel like you are our special guest. I'm so honored to be able to discuss this with you. Recently, for our audience who doesn't know this, Lori was attending, and we have both attended in the past. Lori attended and trained at a relationship marketing seminar. It's called MRM. So Lori and I both attended a seminar, but this last month, Lori was a trainer. Can you tell the audience a little bit about what MRM is and how is it important to anyone in this audience and their life and their business?
Sure, yeah. So MRM stands for Master Relationship Marketing. So what it does is teaching you how to, anybody in any business, no matter what it is, we should focus on our relationships with our customers and clients, as well as our friends and family, right? And so, like they say, there's some studies that have been shown that many people leave companies just because of indifference, like 68%. And the indifference means they weren't mad, they didn't have a bad experience, there wasn't anything major that happened. It was just they didn't have a reason to stay. And so people in business, as they're building those relationships with their clients and customers, that's going to build a loyalty, and therefore then you're not going to have that indifference of people leaving, because 68%, that's a really high percentage of people leaving for no reason, right? And so as you build those relationships, then that is going to help to build loyalty to where your customers and clients are going to be loyal to you and stick with you. And if you sell products or services that they can, rebuy over and over, they'll come back to do business with you. Or if not, they'll still, because you've also done a good business and had good ethics and, honest and moral, all that kind of stuff along with it, they're going to refer you to their friends and family and their circle of 250 of business associates, because you did such a great service for them or sold them great products or whatever, that it's going to make them want to refer you to other people. And it just helps to build those relationships.
So what I'm hearing you say is 68%. So people will, in fact, leave a job based on how they feel.
Right.
They'll walk away from a paycheck, so to speak, a position, a high-paying position, because they were not treated properly. So in developing relationships, at our job, if we are the boss or the employer or the supervisor, this is an integral part of keeping this business together. Because if someone leaves as a result of how we've treated them, there's a break in that link, correct?
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so you have some very important information. So what you're saying is our relationship, is it as important or more important than the job itself?
I believe it's really more important because the more you have that relationship, the more you're going to want to strive to do, like if you're an employee, to strive to do a better job, or as an employer to try to make a better workplace for those employees. You're going to want to strive to do that more when that relationship is built more, where when it's just a dollar sign, then that's it. There's no loyalty. There's no reason. There's no, if the wind blows the other way, they can leave because there's no reason otherwise, right?
Right. So if you and I were working, if you were my superior in a company and you were working on the relationship, you might in fact get better productivity out of me, especially if you and I became, well, whether we crossed the line and became really good friends, if that's crossing the line, but if our relationship were a good relationship where you and I felt good about each other and ourselves, that would keep me more loyal to the company and probably, in fact, make me want to please you as my boss or my supervisor. And that, in fact, would help the company. Is that correct?
Right, exactly. Yeah. And same thing even on a personal level, your children, your family, um, you know, um, like they say that kids love praise, right? And the more you praise them, the more they're gonna want to do better to receive more of that praise. And and even your spouse, the same thing, they like praise. And, and so the more you praise them instead of nag them about things, the more they might strive to do better to get more of that praise.
Yes, and Lori, remember what happened when children were little and they were starting to walk? We would encourage them and say, "Come on, you can do it." And what happened from that moment to at what age did we learn to critique and criticize and bring negativity? Imagine if we encouraged everyone all the time, regardless of their ability, and gave them, hope, encouragement, fostered an environment where they felt they could do it. Because in fact, there are many things in this world that are accomplished today where many people thought it was impossible. Do I have to speak about the Wright brothers to bring my point? How many people thought they were absolutely out of their mind? So we know that encouragement can in fact create history.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And I just thought of the guy that ran the 4-minute mile. I forget his name off the top of my head now, trying to think of it. But, there was studies wrote and, doctors and everybody that told him the human body's not even capable of doing it. And then he said, I'm going to do it. And he put his mind to it, and other people encouraged him, and he did it.
And have you had some of those moments? So I know you were up and you were teaching up on that stage, and that must have been an amazing feeling. And have you had some of those moments where you remember telling yourself, I am doing this. I will do it. I am doing it, regardless of whatever logical left side of your brain might have been telling you that there were odds that were not stacked in your favor, and you've accomplished it. Can you relate to a moment like that, Lori?
Oh, yes. Every time I speak.
Oh, what do you mean? Tell us about it. What does that mean?
Of course, I speak in front of people a lot of times. I speak in front of a group every Friday at a networking luncheon that I do, and there's usually anywhere from 10 to 30 people at those. And there's been several times that I've spoken in front of rooms of several hundred and even a couple thousand people. but every time I still get very nervous, and you know, when I'm asked to speak, I just kind of feel this flush come over me of, oh my goodness, you know, I'm gonna fail. That's the first thought. Not that I'm gonna fail, but you know, just like freak out kind of. But I know I can do it, and that's just basically what I end up telling myself, you know. And I'm very grateful for all the different leaders and people that I've been able to surround myself around, that, you know, that believe in me a lot of times more than I believe in myself. And so, and then I get up and do it, and then I find out I lived through it. So it was okay.
And that's the encouragement that you get from people around you. You know, imagine here we are hosting after 2 years, right? We're going into our third year, a show, and we're talking about things like speaking. Well, is it not true that Barbra Streisand has stage fright?
Yes, I have heard that.
So here it is, right? We are not defined by some of the things that we do in a good way, and I guess we can look at that any way you want. Someone can say, well, look, Lori's speaking on a show every month. She's speaking every Friday. It must be easy for you. But it's one of the things that you continue to receive encouragement for. And going up on stage and training and talking to people about relationships, that's so important, because not everyone is in a position to maybe analyze or reflect back on what it is that's going on in order to have something work. We might be focusing on our task, not realizing that everything around us is important to make it run like a smooth oiled machine. As our friend Carolyn Jackson said once, she said, I really like to be an integral part to make sure that everything runs like a smooth oiled machine. I love that phrase. Thank you for giving me that, Carolyn. I've used it many times. So when you're aware of all of these things around you, then you understand that it's important to keep good relationships, because when we're depending upon someone behind us, in front of us, and beside us, we all need to work together. So tell me a little bit about what are some of the key highlights that you gave to the audience at the MRM when you were speaking, please?
Well, the part that I talked about was building relationships through online. Many of you that do know me, or some of you that might not know me that well, you know, I work from home. My focus is my family. I've homeschooled my children for several years now. And so I do a lot of work from home. I do also do a lot of public meetings and things like that, but most of my time is working from home. And so I'm finagling different things throughout the day between homeschooling kids, and I still have one at home homeschooling. So, but my focus is still on him as well. So, so a lot of the relationship building I do is through social media, emailing, texting, online activities, and phone calls. You know, a lot of that I do. Like I said, I do a lot of in person also, but that was my focus for my talk, was the online activities. And so, so one of the things I talked about was like building relationships through social media. And part of that was, you know, the same thing on social media. It's so great for, on a personal level, to keep in touch with your friends, your family, but even as well, your customers and clients. I connect with a lot of my customers and clients, and on a personal level, they can kind of get to know me, get to know my family when I post pictures of my kids, or I post pictures of my dog that you've probably seen walking around, or the cats, or different things like that. So people get to know me on a personal level, and also because I'm connected with them, I get to know them on a personal level. And so that builds our relationship there. And then also when I post things, I try to post different things all the time. Of like, some things I post are quotes that I've read that day. I do a lot of personal development. I read at least 1 hour a day, every single day. Plus I listen to audiobooks anytime I drive. And so a lot of times I'll post different tidbits and things that I've gotten out of things that I've read or listened to that day that that kind of spoke to my heart. So I think that they might speak to someone else's heart. So I'll post those. And then of course also post different things in our personal life. And then, and then I post every once in a while things about my business, and might post something like different aspects of my business, of how it could be used, my service can be used for someone in different ways, because there's so many different aspects of different ways people can use our service. And so I'll post different ideas so that way people can get those ideas. And because it's not always, just like if you go to like a networking event, and everybody has their little 1-minute spiel to say what they do and how we can refer other people to them, but you don't really get to know what you really need to know about somebody's business in that 1 minute, right?
Yes.
So when you post just a little bit every once in a while on social media, then people can get a more better picture of you and what service or products you're offering, and how that might be able to help them or help someone that they know.
So thank you for that, Lori. And you talk about posting in your business. So would the average person take their cell phone and post on Facebook? Would they post on their website? They need some skills for that. So give us a tip on how we could, in fact, reach out in social media and have someone get to know us better.
Okay, yeah. Posting on Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter, you can do those easily from your cell phone. You can also do them from your desktop or laptop. Any of those things. And you can even, if you want, have them cross post to each other. I personally don't do that because I like to kind of break things up and have not the same exact thing posted everywhere. I like to do different things at different times. So, but you can do that if you want. Also, if you have a personal website, you might have it turned into a blog where you can post different things on that, where people visit your site. They might sign up for your newsletter to get more information about your blog, and then people can get more information that way, where you post something, maybe once a week or once every couple of days or something like that, where the same thing, it just tells people a little bit more information about you and your business and how it can serve them.
Thank you. And Lori, let's see if we can come up with a generalization. What would you say is healthy a good word, a healthy amount of time to spend on social media?
For me, I have time blockers. I use time blockers for everything in my life. That way I don't find myself, spending too much time here and not enough here, and too much here and not enough here. So I put time blockers for everything. So for me, if I'm working at home all day for that 24 hours or whatever, for me personally, I have 3 15-minute segments for Facebook. I personally don't have Facebook go to my phone. I don't get notifications on my phone for Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter, any of those things, or even my emails. I check those things when I'm scheduled to check them. And the same thing, I check my emails. I have 3 15-minute time blocks that I check those, where I check them, I answer what I need to do, delete spam that I don't need, things like that, and take care of those things. And that way, of course, if I have meetings that are outside the home, then some of those things are changed around. But that's just an example of when I'm at home and doing those things, because I also have my son that I'm homeschooling. So I'm taking care of things for him sometimes. And then, I have business calls, and then I also have to clean the house and cook every once in a while. So, so I have the different time blocks for everything. So that way it helps me to stay on a schedule and not sit on the computer all day long looking at what everybody did in their life all day long on Facebook, and then, not having fed my children or fed the animals or whatever, So it just helps to stay consistent with the things that I need to stay consistent with.
Right, and thank you for that. So 3 15-minute blocks of time, and it allows you to have the freedom to develop the relationships with the people and your animals in front of you. So imagine if we are developing relationships on social media, we might in fact be missing the person that's right in front of us. You and I had an opportunity tonight to have a FaceTime meeting while we were both multitasking. So it gave us a chance to chat, and we were both doing the same thing, right? We're in 2 different countries, but we knew what our life was like today, both getting our dinners ready. And I wanted to show you the outside of our home and our property and walked you around on FaceTime. And so it gave us a chance to take a few minutes and do that. So I do also appreciate that you outlining that, because if we have blocks of time that are not set for something, we can actually let something in, right? We can invite something new or something unexpected, which was our visit today. So social media is important. Blocking times and making sure that we stay on a schedule. I get that. I really appreciate that. Sticking to it, making a schedule and sticking to it. And the part about building relationships, for some people in the audience who might think, well, you know, I have great relationships. I don't need to do anything more. They're all wonderful. Can you give us a tip on what can we do to make some of the current relationships we have even more fruitful?
Yeah, one of the things is just, you know, nobody has a perfect relationship, right? I mean, none of us have arrived, none of us are perfect. So we all have things we can work on, even if we say our relationship is at a 10 with a certain person, it's probably not exactly as high as we think it is. You know, a lot of times I've heard stories of like for example, marriage counseling, you know, they'll ask a guy and a woman, you know, what level is your relationship on with each other? And one will say, oh, it's a 9. And then the other one will say it's a 4. So it a lot of times depends on which side of the table you're on, right? And so one of the things that that actually my pastor has preached on before in a marriage class is love people and the way that they want to be loved. And so that's one way you can build your relationship with different people or animals even. And so like one of the things that he said was, you know, like he takes his wife out to dinner, he buys her a new dress, he tells her he loves her, you know, she responds to that because she's being like courted, right? And so just like when they were dating or whatever, and so she loves that and she feels that love from him. And he might tell her he loves her, you know, gives her a hug and a kiss, things like that. And then he told a story about his son, and they talking to their dog. And, you know, if he talks to the dog and says, oh, I love you, or, you know, goes and gets his guitar because he plays guitar and plays him a song that he made for him, you know, the dog is like, might like it, but it's like, what's that for me, you know? So, but if he goes and gets the dog a new bone or even a juicy steak, you know, then the dog's like, yay, that's how you love me in my language, right? And so, so I think that's one major part is building relationships when you love somebody in their language, what they would want. For example, my niece had her 3rd birthday last Saturday. And so I sent her a card in the mail and I sent her some cookies, and there are these humongous cookies. They're like this big each. And there's like a set of 4 in the package. And so my sister texted me some pictures of her opening up the card and opening up the package. And she was so happy to get them. And since I was just there last week, you know, she was of course missing her favorite Aunt Lori. And, but you know, if I would have sent her, you know, a dress, she might like it. But, you know, cookies or a toy, you know, is going to be loving her in her language. And so on her level. And so, so I think that's really important to think about is just no matter who it is, that relationship, you want to show them and build that relationship in the way that they would want it, not the way you necessarily want to show it.
That's an excellent point. You're right. Communicating the same language and adapting that for a child, for an adult, for a dog. You know, you're so right. And thanks to social media, I saw that post of your niece with the cookies, and I thought, in her card, and I thought that's adorable. She's so beautiful with her. She has blonde, wavy hair, and yeah, social media does actually help us to stay in touch with people that we are friends with. So I'm able to learn about you by seeing the nice things that you do, not only for me as your friend and your partner and your co-host, but the other people in your life. So it allows me to feel closer to you because I'm able to observe that. And that's it's a good plus. So in my block of time, you should know that I spend my time looking at what you do so that I can remain close to you. So maybe I should tell you that so it doesn't happen by accident, communicating to one another that you're important to me and I care about what you do. And that's the language that would work for us, right?
Right. Yes. Yeah. And thank you. And I appreciate that. And I love you too. But yeah, and even on social media, you know, like talking about that, you know, when you like other people's posts, when you know, when in my time blocks, you know, I might post something, but then I also go to other people's pages, you know, scroll through my news feed, but sometimes, you know, like with me, I have so many people on my news feed that a lot of times I have to go to certain people's pages to be able to see, you know, like pull up your page personally to see, you know, what I want to see on you right at that moment. And so, but a lot of times that gives us that personal connection, you know, when we like someone's post or we comment on their post, you know, that makes them feel more connected to us as well as us more connected to them, right? Because it's just like conversating, you know, without having to do it. We're doing it through social media.
Yes, and you know, we learn to expect if we say something, we want the world to make a like or make a comment about it because we want to know that there are people out there that do care about us, but there are many languages to speak. There's Facebook, there's the telephone, there's face-to-face, there's LinkedIn, there's whatever form of message that you want to do to build your relationship. But the key point here is to continue to build, right? Build our relationships with one another. We shouldn't ride on them as if that's a good relationship. Take your 3-year-old, 4-year-old niece. If you decide to stop sending her cookies because you did it once and she should know you love her, she may not feel the same as if you sent her cookies in a card again, maybe next week, right?
Right. Yes, exactly. And that goes back to the same thing of the story of the guy telling his wife, you know, oh, I told you I loved you when I married you. You know, I don't need to tell you again 20 years down the road.
Yeah, absolutely right. So consistency is a really another good point. It must have been amazing to be standing on that stage speaking as a person, you know, of authority. Can you tell us, I know that our show, you know, is a half an hour. We can spend an hour, but can you tell us the background from which you speak about your web design and posting and things of that nature?
Sure. Well, I've been a graphics designer for about 25 years. I've been doing web design for almost 21 years now, and I am blessed to not have to do that as much anymore. But I maintain all the clients that I've had in the past, and I still take on some new clients here and there. But I focus on keeping in touch with the clients that I currently have and taking care of them, and I've been able to design websites for hundreds of different customers and clients over the last several years. And so, so with that, with also, I run several programs for some of my clients for search engine optimizations and for social media. I run some of my clients' pages for that, their business pages, and as well as for me and my business, you know, doing those things. And several years ago, I was able to, you know, being able to work from home, supporting my family and able to build our family up to a 6-figure income just from working from home. And that was through the different things through the internet that I do. So I guess that's where my background is.
And thank you. That's amazing because, Lori, you have so many skills. And when you speak about something, you're speaking from a seasoned position from your background, your specific background, and you have clout in your statements, if that makes sense. You're speaking not from something that you read, you're speaking from your life experience, and that really means a lot because experience is something that, well, you can't buy, and your word is very important. And speaking about our relationships and what you said on the stage, if we wanted to listen to that, perhaps we can let any of our audience know. If they're interested, they can send us a message and we can share that with them. And we should let our audience know that you developed our website. So if they have any questions, they can reach us. So if anyone watching tonight has any questions about what Lori discussed at the event, relationships, if you have any other questions about sharing your story, well, Lori, could you speak to our audience about what can they do from here?
Sure, yes. You can visit us on our website at www.gratitudegirls.com. You can also like us and visit us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/gratitudegirls. And you can always visit us here every single month. We're here the fourth Tuesday of every single month at 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central, 7:30 Mountain, and 6:30 Pacific.
Lori, it's a pleasure speaking with you. I could go on listening to you for the rest of the evening. And to our audience who feels like you want more, send us a Facebook message. Let us know. We're happy to speak with you and connect with you. So send us a message and we will get back to you. Lori, it's a pleasure from my heart to yours. Thank you for being my Gratitude Girls partner. I look forward to each and every show. And I want to say I love you and good night.
I love you too. Good night.
Good night.